So hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a nice little geometry problem. So we've got an isosceles triangle with sides A being equal to 15 units, with its base B being equal to 18 units, and we've got a rectangle that's inscribed inside our isosceles triangle such that its surface area is equal to 48. Okay, and the problem here is that we have to find the sides of this rectangle. Okay, so first, how do we go about doing this? Well, first of all, I'm just going to fix this part right here. Okay, not exactly fix, but make it a little bit more manageable. I want to isolate the sides. Okay, maybe like this. So this part right here is going to be one side of our rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and call it C. And we know that all of this together is equal to B, which is equal to 18 units of measure. So if this is B and this is C, these two parts right here must be B minus C over 2. Okay, this is B minus C over 2, and this here is also B minus C over 2. And when you add all of these three parts together, you'll get exactly B. Now the second thing that I also would like to point out is that this, I'll just write these in red. Okay, so this is C, and this right here is D. Okay, so this right here is D, the other side of our rectangle. So the next thing that I want to do, and I'll use green for this, is I want to find the height of our isosceles triangle, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it H, and we can easily calculate this height. How can we calculate this height? Well, the height of this triangle can be solved using Pythagorean theorem. So namely, h squared is equal to a squared minus half of the side b, which is b over 2, also squared. So we get that h squared is equal to a squared is 15 squared, which is 225, minus b over 2, which is just 9 squared, which is 81, and we'll get that h squared is equal to 144, from where it follows that h must be equal to 12 units of measure. Okay, now I'm going to be using the similarity of triangles. I'm going to be looking at these two triangles. So this is the larger triangle, and this side is A, this side is H, and this side is B over 2. This is the right triangle on the right side. And I'm going to be looking at the smaller triangle, whose dimensions are b minus c over 2 and d. Now these two triangles are similar. Why? Because they have two same angles, and that must also mean that their third angle is also the same. So this angle is the same as this angle, and this angle is the same as this angle. Therefore, these two triangles are going to be similar. Now, by setting this up, I can say that b minus c over 2 is, and everything over b over 2 is the same as d over h. Okay? And now we can cancel out these 2's, and let's just go ahead and put in numerical values. So b was equal to 18 minus c over 18, and d is one of our sides of the triangle, but we know that h is equal to 12. And we can multiply everything by 6. That will give us that 18 minus c over 3 is equal to d over 2. From here, it follows that 36 minus 2c is equal to 3d. We get this by cross multiplying. Or, in other words, 2c plus 3d is equal to 36. Okay? This is one equation, and we'll get the other equation from the area. What's the area of our rectangle? Well, it's simply c times d, and that product is equal to 48. So c times d is equal to 48. And all that's left to do is solve this system of equations. So from the second equation, let's call this the first and this the second equation. So from the second equation, it follows that c is equal to 48 over d. Okay? And I'm just going to plug that into our first equation. So 2 times 48 over d, which is just 96 over d, plus 3 times d is equal to 36. Now, I can just go ahead and divide everything by 3, and that will give us that 32 over d plus d is equal to 12. And we can just multiply everything by 12. So 32 plus d squared is equal to 12d. Or, once you rewrite it, d squared minus 12d plus 32 is equal to 0. So d12 is going to be equal to minus b, which is actually 12, plus minus 144 minus 4 times 32 minus 128, and everything over 2. And this is the same as 12 plus or minus 144 minus 128 is equal to 16. The square root of 16 is 4, and everything over 2. So d1 is equal to 12 minus 4, which is 8, over 2, which is just 4, and D2, 12 plus 4, which is 16, over 2, which is just 8. And once you plug that into those values into this equation, you'll get that C1 is equal to 48 over 4, which is equal to 12, and that C2 is equal to 48 over 8, which is 6. So we see that there's not one, but two possible rectangles that can be inscribed inside this isosceles triangle, which will give us an area which have the area that's equal to 48. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.